Ladies and gentlemen, big terror news.
Hey, kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Chewy.
Kia ora, Pat. How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, man?
I have had a very hard day at the mines.
Really?
Did you just mute me? Did someone
No.
mute me?
You all right?
Just came up. The host has unmuted my mic. I work in a mine, and the ore that we bring to the surface is deleting shitty apps from boomers' phones.
Yep.
And I've been hard at work doing that all day.
A quick heads up. We were going to have our very special guest, Chloe Swarbrick, joining us tonight. Things have changed, as I would imagine happens quite a lot in the world of politicking, and Chloe has become unavailable, so we have Marama Davidson joining us tonight. Marama is not here quite yet, so we are going to start the show, and when Marama joins us, we will bring her into the show. So, yes, lovely couple of days here in Dunedin. It looks like the weather's going to be scary through the top part of the North Island, though. It looks like there's... Did I read a headline in the weekend that said 50 hours of continuous rain coming to the top half of the North Island? And I'm like, gosh.
I was looking this up. This is the 7th notable rain event that's hitting the north of the North Island.
Yeah.
And remember, when we talk about climate change, the ocean gets hotter and there's more water in the atmosphere, which comes down as rain and fucks everybody. So, yeah.
I had the funniest story today. It just reminded me because I just got a text message from Ms. 19. Is she 19? Ms. 20? I don't know. Like that. I went down to my local dairy and I walked into the dairy to get a can of drink. And the dairy owner says, is this your daughter? And handed me a driver's license. And I looked at the driver's license and went, which I'm holding in my hand, or I'm holding it on an ankle so no one sees it. I went, yeah, that is. How did you know? And apparently he has do you call it a didactic memory? Something like that, where you take a photo and you store it from memory. Is that right? Something like that. And he knew that she was my daughter. So rather than trying to find her, he waited for me to come back in and give it to me. And so she's on her way over here right now to pick up her driver's license. She'd already ordered another one. So there you go. There's a good news story for today.
That stuff amazes me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the way that my brain works or the fact that I've worked in retail for so long. I am utterly face blind. Like, I have people come in and go, oh, you helped me out 9 months ago. And I was like,
I did.
Okay.
One other good news story today before we go and say good day to Marama. You ready for this, whānau? Here we go. Boom, 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 boom,
Look at that.
boom, 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 boom,
Now,
boom,
that
boom,
would
boom, boom,
absolutely
boom.
set off the rear quarter of anybody's car that also has an ACT New Zealand First or National sticker on it.
We're not finished, though. We're not finished. Ready? Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, take that back. That one's even better. Do that one instead.
dun. I think maybe if we go one step better, how about this one on the bump? You ready? Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, that's it. That's better another time.
Maybe just all three.
How is someone meant to choose, Pat?
Well,
How
I'll
is
tell you
someone
what.
meant to choose what sticker?
They're not up on the shop yet. So I'm just going to basically say, until they go on the shop, which will probably happen to the weekend, anyone who buys anything from the shop, I'll include all three of the stickers in the package. Like if you buy anything from the shop, if you buy a mug, I'll put the 3 stickers in with it. If you buy a t-shirt, I'll put the 3 stickers in with it. So between now and them going on the store, which if I'm realistic is probably Saturday because that's when I've got a window, then anyone who orders anything off the store will throw in with that order a Ditch the Pricks in 26, a BHN, and a If the Left Votes, the Left Wins sticker. They'll all just go in. I know it sounds silly, but if you order a sticker, 3 more stickers.
You double your sticker.
You
That's more sticker per sticker.
You quadruple. You order a sticker because you get 4.
Pat's not good at marketing or economics. Take advantage of that.
All right. Let us welcome to the show our very special guest. Looks like coming in straight from Parliament from the looks of that little screen there. It is Marama Davidson. Marama, kia ora. Good evening.
Kia ora, Pat. Kia ora, Chewy. Good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to have you.
If you were going to stick one of these on David Seymour's car, would you go for the would you go for the BHN? Would you go for the Ditch the Pricks in 26? Or would you go for If the Left Votes, the Left Wins? Which one of those stickers
can I have all 3 of them?
Sure, done.
Yes.
They're really good. They're really good.
Done.
But initially I was going to say the BHN one because it's bold and I want something that will stand out and be easy to see from, a decent distance.
Yep.
But they're also all really good. So I'll take all of them, thanks.
And just to make it very clear, there is no colour coordinating there. There's no relationship to those colours whatsoever. If there is any relationship to those colours, it's purely accidental.
Total
it's just
accident.
There's nothing to do with those colours. Has anything to do with anything actually. They're just my 3 favourite colours.
They're great. They're great.
Someone just bought something. I don't know what it was, but my phone just went ding. So there you go. Someone's getting stickers. Hey, Marama, thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in for Chloe. We appreciate you coming on board. Everyone is very excited to hear from you.
Thank you.
There is some bits. Oh, and sorry we missed you at Waitangi, but next year, yeah? Next year we'll get Chewy
Yeah,
up. We'll do it proper. We'll do it proper. Do it proper. I do want to talk to you about a few things. You have somewhat upset the apple cart when it comes to our show because I was going to feature you and David Seymour this morning on the Herald show, which we now won't do because it would be weird. But that's okay. It's lovely to have you here.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry about that. You can feature that another day, maybe.
We'll do. So let's actually start with the actual reason you're here. I do want to hopefully grab you for a couple of minutes to talk about some other stuff going on as well. But the Greens have made an announcement today. It didn't come out till 3:30. There wasn't a lot of noise about it in the mainstream media. I know that RNZ picked up on it and some other bits and bobs, but this is the first lot of your policies rolling out for the election. Here is the scoop press release. Greens announced a plan to end homelessness and fix the housing crisis. So why don't you tell us all about it? What's this announcement? What's this policy and what does it mean?
Housing is a human right. Housing is a public good. Housing should first and foremost be for people to put down roots, to live with affordability, live in quality homes that keep people well. And that's the vision that we absolutely can and must do in this country. I'll go back to something very briefly just to put things right in people's minds. And I just want to say kia ora to the beautiful comments that are coming through in the viewers as well. Kia ora, everybody. It's lovely to be here. It's not quite one of our big sort of main policy election announcements. They will come and we can't wait. We're working through those at the moment and we'll have the full plans, the full costings. This is again an example of the Greens showing what we believe in prioritising, what we stand for, and just consistent with the solutions that we've put out over many, many years, over several general elections. And we're once again saying, hey, this is what we stand for. We stand for everybody having a right to have a warm, healthy, affordable, stable home. So today we went to a shitty flat in Wellington. Now I know there's many, but we announced at a shitty flat that of course is charging the earth, and apparently the tenants were told, and these are student tenants, young people, were told that it passes the current healthy home standards.
Okay.
And it's pretty shitty, which is why part of our plan is to call for a warrant of fitness, which, requires stronger accountability, stronger monitoring, and transparency so that people can see, have you been a shitty landlord? Have you had homes and properties? Have you been taken to the tribunal? That's part of registering landlords as well as property agents.
Yeah, so can you, one of my questions literally is, what's the difference between the healthy homes and the warrant of fitness? So you're saying what, there's a way for renters to share information about the landlords as well? Tell us the difference between those two things.
Sure.
Obviously for here in Dunedin, it's a very big issue.
Yeah, exactly. I should go back one step and just be really clear that the plan, the overall plan that we announced today, had a focus on sort of three core things: invest and scale up public housing. So just in the first instance, public housing, and then renters' rights. So the renters' rights bit is sort of a whole part in itself of what we announced today, and ending homelessness, particularly a focus on homelessness. So if you want to have a look at renters' rights then and a warrant of fitness, it would require, so at the moment, healthy homes, you mark your own homework, shall we say, if people can sort of look at it like in that way. There's not really any accountability and transparency. And as I said, we're in a shitty flat today and it's still passed. So the standards, a warrant of fitness has better quality standards, but it also has better accountability mechanism built in. Oh, there we go. That's the shitty flat that we announced at. And it would mean, in conjunction with a warrant of fitness, it is a landlord register, basically. So how many times has that landlord been taken to the Waitangi Tribunal? Yes, they should. To the tribunal, tenancy tribunal. How many other properties do they own? Are their properties all warranted? Transparency for people, and also proper accountability for not having houses and properties that are up to standard.
You have said as well about the housing policy. It says in the housing policy, rather than reading it, about building affordable homes as well. I guess there's going to be a lot of people that go, yeah, the last time the left did this, they promised us 100,000 homes and it never happened. What is the plan to get behind that? How is the Greens going to push that through? Do you have a number in mind, for example?
Yep. Well, we've, over the past at least 6 years, have talked about 35,000, 40,000 public homes. And we have what we need, including the means to be able to build that scale up public housing. That would be a priority because the Crown has a core responsibility to ensure that everyone has a good home. Housing, I think people, even including your viewers, will understand housing is an investment. And that's why it is a wise and smart decision to be able to access borrowing, for example, for an investment. It's an investment in itself as an asset, I suppose, but it's an investment into generational well-being. It's pretty basic and fundamental, and really good things come from being able to have a stable, good, affordable, quality home. So that's why, yep, we're unapologetic about raising revenue through wealth tax. Yes, always. But we also know that borrowing to be able to scale up housing is just a really, really smart thing to do. So that's alongside community housing, because yes, they have had a role and they still do have a role, because that also includes Māori-led housing, Pasifika-led housing. We will still want to support that also.
Has there been any investigation into how those places will get built? Because with the flood of builders and hammer hands and plumbers and tradies going to Australia right now, are there any concerns like, hey, we've got this plan, but actually we don't have the man and woman power, the people power to actually fulfill this? Yeah,
that, and of course we want to invest in the training. Actually, I've got a feeling a lot of your viewers and even your good selves might be too young to remember a time when we had, used to be called Public Works, where actually the government, Green Ministry of Works, Ministry of Works. Actually, this also creates jobs, e te iwi. This also, creates jobs, thousands, tens of thousands of jobs alone. So having sort of public control of infrastructure works and green ministry of works to be able to scale up, get the skills we need, the people we need. We've got the people. Get the training we need. Get ideas like prefabricated housing in place, in sight, in our regions. All of those things, we've dug into those. That stuff is part of our jobs creation plan as well.
So the Green Ministry of Works, if you're talking about building a house, could then also provide to the tertiary institutions. It could be a part of the cycle, eh?
Exactly.
You could have like, what are they called, hammer hands that come on when you're learning? Apprentices coming into the Ministry of Works, being trained up whilst they're literally building houses for people who need them in New Zealand. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole sort of pathway, and we announced this in our jobs plan, 40,000 plus jobs just in building the things we need, New Zealand making its own stuff, employing our own people, housing, jobs for nature, conservation, infrastructure, water, solar energy panels, renewable energy infrastructure, and skills and trades, the actual things we need in our communities. And those are the jobs that we can create as well through a Green Ministry of Works.
Nice. Chewy, go for it.
This sounds frighteningly on the other side of what the government says that we should do, which is New Zealand can't possibly do things ourselves. We're too little, we're too poor, and we're too dumb, and we have to take ideas and products and resources from overseas in exchange for all of our money. Am I right there? Have I clocked that?
Yeah, look, Chewy, that's part of the MA seeding the ground for privatisation. That's why, especially international and offshore privatisation. That's why. So that actually New Zealand will just end up being owned by someone overseas, many conglomerates overseas, and they're into that. Yeah. This government, they've shown that in their policy decisions. So we can reject this, all of this. We can reject all of this, and actually create that ministry, because my goodness, are we going to need it? We're going to need it to build the things that we need. Look at our water infrastructure around our towns and cities and provinces. Look at what is happening to, bloody Wellington Harbour alone. This is good investment. Building infrastructure for the well-being of communities, to provide what we need to be well and to be functioning and to be connected. These are smart investments. They will bring us social value and social cohesion. They're also cheaper than letting things go to the shit and letting that intergenerational pain and harm happen.
And just to follow up on that, have you run this past Winston? This sounds like there might be enough in there to get him interested.
Do you know, people? I don't know if your viewers will be aware, but he did his big State of the Planet, whatever, and talked about splitting up the Gentiles. Do you know we wrote to him over a year ago and asked him to support our members bill in the name of Scott Willis, which does exactly that. So he's copying our homework, but he's trying to say that he's there for the manufacturing of this country. He could do something about Heinz right now and support our local growers and producers and support jobs in our regions and around the country, and actually support our homegrown kai to be available for our people and communities. Where are you, Uncle? Where are you?
But speaking of partners, speaking of getting it by somebody, I mean, Labor did have that idea of 100,000 homes, which they fell a bit short on, but they did more homes than these guys. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it seems to be quite an easy sell. Would be quite an easy sell to them. It sounds like it's in the same Venn diagram of stuff they were talking about.
Sorry, say that again.
Seems to be, this policy of yours seems to be similar, at least in the same chapter of the book, as to what Labor tried to do. But surely it must be an easy sell for Labor should you be in the position to form a government.
I think homes is one of those big Venn diagram areas when it comes to Labor and I and Whāti Māori and us, Labor and us. So, I don't see that as a problem. But Pat, you'll be used to me saying this everywhere and anywhere I get the chance, is actually the mandate is up to the people, and that's where I see the real convincing needs to happen. Because if the people have provided that mandate to all of us, political parties, then we can get on and do the job. So it's building the mandate in communities.
It sounds quite like the talk of the Venn diagram. Absolutely, all of these things link together, and they all touch on serious systemic problems we have with our economy and our society that have been around at this point for decades. I feel like I've been bashing my head against a wall saying that we need to look at housing as pretty much the one albatross around our neck that is leading to such inequality, the gap between rich and poor, the things that people are complaining about, like, oh, we don't like seeing people sleeping in shops, so we're going to get the cops to shovel them along every day. Well, why don't we make sure that they've got homes? Why don't we make sure that if somebody's got money to invest, that housing isn't the most attractive option that they have, or in fact, in my belief here in New Zealand, the only option to invest your money, that housing becomes a priority for the people in it, not for someone's portfolio.
Well, let's look at that homelessness bit for a bit, because a part of this policy is to end homelessness. So talk to that, Marama.
At the moment, why don't I focus on young people? At the moment, young people who have been in care, young people in care institutions can be, I want to use the word released, out of care without housing and without social support. Yep. So I have in the Biscuit Tin Members Bill a duty to assist Members Bill, which will require government agencies and holding the CEs of those agencies accountable. So Oranga Tamariki, for example, building into law and accountability that they cannot be sort of released from care without housing and social support. And why that is important is because, my goodness, you get our rangatahi and our taiohi in the brutal cycle of homelessness. We have a scarier chance of that becoming a lifelong pattern. So ensuring, so this duty to assist applies for everyone, including adults coming out of prison. But we really must not tolerate young people being homeless. And so ending homelessness, of course, you know, I was just with my Manurua community on Sunday who organised their own action against these move on orders which seek to criminalise homelessness after this government has made it harder to get a home and to get support. So, you know, that's what part of ending homelessness is about, ensuring that no one is homeless. So yes, public housing is for that sort of permanent housing, but homelessness also requires the support and the investment into the departments and the community organisations to be able to provide that support, provide that housing. Hey, Mahera Maihi just won local hero of the year, New Zealanders of the Year award, and she is an example of the various solutions that exist. She opened, and I was proud to support her work as Associate Minister, and open the country's first kaupapa Māori, rangatahi Māori youth transitional housing. She has shown what works. She has shown that if we invest properly into the people who know what works, there is no reason for anyone, including rangatahi and children, to be homeless. So that's what the ending homelessness part of the plan includes.
The other thing I was going to ask, and look, what will happen for people who want to criticise you? They'll make the point that I'm about to make. They'll make it as a big issue, whereas that's actually a very percentile small issue. But I still want to ask the question. You know, there are some things which impact people, be it mental health, be it addiction, that kind of stuff, which maybe they will push back even against being housed. They would choose not to. Is there a solution for that, or is there a way to help that through this plan as well?
And that we always need to protect people's agency. I've heard this myself working with the frontline agencies and the agencies who have those relationships with people who sleep on the streets, people who sleep rough. So absolutely, that is a reality. So they require complex, wraparound, long-term, enduring, and persistent support. Let's not beat around the bush here. We have to continue to work with them. We absolutely cannot expect a linear progression for people who have had decades and lifelong experience of hardship, of addiction. That's why we have to invest in the organisations who are skilled and trained and experienced and take a relational approach to supporting people. We also have the likes of those providers and those places who can provide the drop-in places. I've visited around the country, Orange Sky services, those services that can bring as much dignity as possible, can affirm as much dignity as possible to people if they do end up on the streets for whatever reason. But for the majority, we can actually put people on a pathway to stay housed, even if it's not the first time. We can put people on a pathway and need to properly invest. But yes, if there are some who still end up wherever they choose, we've got those other types of organizations in the communities who can still, provide those basics: food, medical care, health support, and friendship and dignity to those people as well.
And I'm assuming your government, if should you be in the position to form one, would probably treat those people a bit better than what's happening with caregivers at the moment, where they're actually having to pay to drive their cars and not getting reimbursed enough for the fuel. You'll probably have a way to answer that for them, I'm assuming, Marama?
That issue of care workers not being able to meet their in-between costs, it's called, in between costs. That has been an issue for well over a decade. They have not been able to be properly recompensed or reimbursed for those in-between travel to get to the supporting whānau, the whānau that they're supporting. So that was already bad. In this fuel crisis, it's heinous, and it's a massive disruptor to these workers, to their lives and their well-being. So we included them in our response package, our fuel crisis proposals, our direct payments also included increasing the mileage rates for care workers to be able to do their bloody job, which our people rely on. So absolutely, we've already stated that's something that we would prioritise.
Skipping on to kind of another part of this conversation still related to it, should you be in a position to help form a government and you to get this policy through and others, what do you guys want in government? Like there are many voices on the right at the moment that are trying to cause mayhem by saying, and Chloe will be the Minister of Finance. Like, what are you guys thinking? Awesome. What are you guys thinking when you get to form a government? Should that be the case? What do you want? What are you eyeing up? And let's just put the environmental stuff aside, because it's like the Greens always get thrown that one. Like, I'm not saying that in a dismissive way, but what else? What is it that the Greens want out of forming a government?
Rather than getting down into nitty-picky, why don't I start with, we need to make changes that lead to transformation, right? Mm-hmm. So for the most part, this is economic change. And for the most part, we are all, and have been for decades, living in an economy, quite simply, that has exploited the many for the wealth of the few. And we've got an economy that taxes people who earn instead of people who own. And so that's the transformation. So we don't even have to get down into which ministries, but certainly Treasury. We've got to see economic transformation that turns that around. We cannot sustain the wealthy, uber rich getting even wealthier. We cannot. That is built on the backs of people's health, of people's education, of people's housing, and so on and so forth. That is built on the backs of exploiting and ruining the environment and our habitats, our biodiversity, and our native species. So we cannot sustain that. The world cannot sustain that. That economic transformation is required. The changes to the Public Financing Act, or to say the laws. People don't need to know what that means, for goodness sake. Let's just say we need to change the laws that transform the economic model that we have, which exploits the many, which sees the uber rich paying effectively half the tax rate of you all, of people who earn, and that is not good enough, and we deserve more.
I think Matthew Horncastle just started digging a bunker, which is good. I encourage him to dig deep.
Oh, can he go somewhere else and dig it though? Like,
Yep, straight down, all the way. Dig up.
to the molten centre, is what you're saying, Joey?
Yeah.
Just keep digging.
I've just had a thought, and it's just, bear with me, both of you, because my thoughts come slow, so it may not be fully formed. May not be fully formed yet. But I'm just watching the chat, Marama, and people talking about how amazing it is to hear a politician with empathy. And
I was thinking the same.
Oh,
We've been starved for it.
We've been low standards, hey?
But this is the little thought I had, as I said, thinking as I'm speaking. That's why they're scared of you guys. Because radical empathy requires people to be treated and cared for as individuals. And if you're on the neoliberal right, you want to put a little 1 or a 0 beside everybody to make a decision. So of course they're going to fight back, push back, make lies about people who are demonstrating radical empathy, because you upturn their apple cart and make left mean right for them. Do you know what I mean?
I've got another screen right next to me. It's got my Facebook page open. It's got a reel that I put up today. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Pat and Chewy. Your viewers might want to go and have a look and help me out here. So that radical empathy, what am I saying? I'm saying something like, we have got enough in this country for everyone to live a good life, right? Holy shit. So radical that I got bombed with trolls. And so the algorithms do this thing. The algorithms do this thing where something threatening, like, what threatening? Why is that threatening? Do this thing where that disproportionately attracts people just jumping on. Some of them are, I reckon, bots. They've got those like either faceless profiles or no good profiles. I've tried to start sort of blocking and deleting the bots, but there's a whole lot of like, she just wants people to be lazy. She just wants to steal all of the riches. So actually what I want to say to your viewers is, actually, New Zealanders believe in fairness. But this radical, so-called radical empathy, I'm just like, man, that ain't even radical empathy. That's just common sense.
Yeah.
It's just common sense, surely, that we believe that everyone should have a decent life.
Yeah. Should we play this? It's only 60 seconds, so people could know what you're talking about. Let's have a listen to it.
Oh, sorry.
And I want to send a message to the people watching and hearing us. There is enough in Aotearoa for everyone to be able to live good lives. There is enough for every child and their whānau to have housing and the income that they need to live life with dignity. There is absolutely no excuse to not tap into the wealth that this country has, that is currently being held by the few. And that is the idea that the Greens have always put forward. They have put handcuffs on their own arms and instead have been giving billions to corporates while leaving out the very people who make us who we are and work in our communities, including if it's caring for children and caring for loved family members. There is enough, people. Do not be fooled that it is unaffordable to make sure everyone has what they need. There is no excuse or justification for that, and the Green Party has shown that we have the solutions.
So here's a question from that, and I have asked this of a couple of other politicians that have come on this year. Let's exclude the trolls who be trolling. Let's exclude the Russian bots, and let's speak to those people who in my opinion have been lied to and fooled, that the Greens just want everyone to sit around and play PlayStation and get paid, but they're real people with the wrong information. What do you say to those people, Marama?
Yeah, actually, I think it's really clear that this is just common sense stuff about how we all live together. We are all better off when we are sticking up for each other. that don't be distracted. Don't be distracted by who you think is the reason why you may not have a home or a job or being paid a fair wage. We are intentionally distracted to try and keep our focus away from the elite, from the wealthy few, and instead fight for crumbs against each other. But actually, on the ground in our communities, you can see who we really are. You can see that people care about people. You can see that we collectively help each other out when we are in trouble. So the examples are there. But yeah, okay, I can accept. I mean, this is not even that sort of stuff. That's the stuff that so many people have lived and breathed. Empathy for others for their entire lives. I'm not saying anything bloody new or radical. This is just who we are. And actually, I think we need to take some hope in that. We see that. We see that in our communities and in our activism. And we just need to hold the faith that collectively we are better than that.
Marama, if you've got a couple more minutes, there's some questions in the chat. Chewy, do you want to see if there's any that are, and we always say this, if you've given us a super chat, we appreciate it, but it's no guarantees it's going to get asked. So, Chewy, if you want to have a look at some of those. There's two other quick questions, Marama. The first is actually, and I saw this, you talking about this morning on the Herald show, because we're not going to show that yet, your takeaway from Brooke van Velden and her retiring.
Oh, look, I am human and wish all people well in their lives who leave this really sticky, pretty hard out place of Parliament. But I have a responsibility to highlight the harm that she has caused to workers and to women in particular by stealing the pay equity claims from over 300,000 women. She has rightfully, from workers, from unions, from the people, been labelled as the most dangerous employment relations minister that the country has seen.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
What am I going to say?
Yeah. No, all right. You probably said it more kindly than many. And the other thing is cost of living in Iran with the fuel prices. I got quite a specific question, actually. In the last couple of weeks, when David Seymour was cosplaying as the Prime Minister, when Luxon was cosplaying as a Polynesian prince or whatever he was doing, he said in an interview, people can bulk buy, there's no rules against it. And then Nicola Willis said, in the last couple of days, we don't want or need people to change their behaviours around fuel. And what we're seeing now is people, literally rolling up with their 44-gallon drums and filling up, and then people yelling at these people who are filling up. But the government at the moment is going, it's fine, we've got plenty, it's fine. Whereas other countries around the world don't seem to be saying that. I just wanted to get your thoughts around that.
Oh, yeah. We actually had a briefing from officials, shall we say, who were sent by Luxon and Nicola to the Greens to give us a briefing, and that was exactly the briefing. The briefing was nothing more than what we hadn't already heard on RNZ that morning, but the whole vibe was keep calm, we're sweet, carry on, basically. We got two main things, I think. Firstly, this government, yes, successive governments, but especially this government, have locked us into reliance on fossil fuel, to reliance on, at the whim of what mood Donald Trump is waking up in that morning. And so locking in that reliance on fossil fuels, they tanked, so funny, they tanked the electric vehicle market by removing clean car standards, clean car discounts, and then want to put up some extra charges. Some extra EV charges, hilarious. So they tanked the market. They, continue to, the LNG terminal proposal, ridiculous, $1 billion. Saving right there, revert that into public transport, into, proper cycleways and buses and trains, including between regions, including investing in the smaller towns and cities that do not have the choice currently for public transport. No. They've spent far more money, far more expensive to invest in big roads that do not bring congestion down. So this is the example of what this government have locked us into. more and more reliance on fossil fuels, as well as refusing. It's sort of like they're a bit, I don't know, what do you call it? Sort of they're just refusing to look at how that has been revealed to us right now as shady as. Like, how on earth can they not see that by continuing to lock us into that dependence, they are not planning, are not setting up our country to be resilient? And so that's why we, in our package, said free public transport. Free public transport, yep, for 3 months to start off in this, like hoarding the gallons. And that would also then free up the supply for those who really, really need it if we were to provide other options for travel. But yeah, this is just, it's real silly stuff, that's going on from this government.
And they're using get out of jail free cards like we can't just spray the cash around, but, you know, taking a percentage of
money
the excise,
bazooka.
Yeah, the money bazooka. Taking some percentage of the excise tax or free public transport is not going to spray the cash around. That's not injecting a huge amount of money into the community. It's just actually helping. So we hear you. Chewy, you got anything else?
When you're spraying the cash to a $1 billion LNG terminal,
Yeah, true.
you know, I'd quite happily spend $143.5 million on 3 months of public transport.
Yep. Or to landlords, or to big tobacco, or to the gas and oil industry.
That's the comparison, right? Is that they go, previous government sprayed money around during COVID and it was but they're borrowing more now for no crisis. A crisis has arrived.
No,
but the reason that they can't respond to it is because they've borrowed for no good reason to give to tobacco companies and landlords. It's madness.
Oh, bugger, I had a thing there. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Man, this COVID narrative is pissing me off. So they're constantly exploiting this COVID narrative. I think your viewers may be aware, but the key thing that went wrong under Labor through the COVID response was that they didn't tax the other side. So, they put the money out there, but they did not get the revenue by taxing wealth. And the Greens went hard to advocate, come on now, because what else happened through COVID, let us be very clear, by sitting and doing nothing, the wealthier, their wealth skyrocketed through COVID. It skyrocketed. And so we didn't tax that. It skyrocketed, let me be clear, for doing nothing. So just owning a home. And because everyone was spending less, those who had billions, their wealth skyrocketed. We weren't traveling as much, all of that sort of stuff. So we pushed hard to say to Labor, come on, we've got to tax the other side. That's the bit that went wrong in the COVID inquiry.
Yeah. Have you got a few more minutes just for some questions from the punters, questions or comments? Is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Pete says something interesting. Have a secure home and you have a secure community. Which is more of a comment that we thought we could pass that on. Yeah.
Hello.
And Study Boy says, as part of your plans, I guess, what about helping Kiwis buy their own homes?
Yeah.
Is that something you guys have talked about, something you're thinking about?
It is the Greens in the last government with Labor that brought in the, you might know it as PHO, the progressive home ownership model. That was us. So that is, look, people might understand it easier as sort of like a rent to buy. Model led by government, invested in by government. That's still rolling out. We'd like to obviously upscale that. So there's like direct support for people to get into their own home. There is also, by massively scaling up public housing, community housing, rent caps, rent controls, all the other sort of cost-cutting things like public transport, etc., would also support people to be able to better save for their own investment or their own mortgage into their own home as well.
AKA Decat just says, a green Ministry of Works, love it. Marama's Wombles. There you go. It's already got a nickname. Marama's Wombles is the way it's going to go. NZ Doom sounds like a real plan for developing the economy and giving New Zealanders real stable jobs. Marama, Winnie will call it woke so he can keep selling New Zealand off to his overseas mates.
Yeah, New Zealand last. I do want to pick up, if you don't mind, Pat. I did see a comment, a really important comment about not referring to COVID as being a historical event and incident.
True.
I really want to appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I really want to appreciate that comment because we absolutely stand by that too. We ended up being a loner voice, the Greens, when and I get some of the arguments too when Labor started to sort of roll back some of the protections that had been put in place. We were the ones at the table going, I think we're still going to need to have some protections in place. So I really just want to acknowledge the many, 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 many people who have lost people to COVID, but who have also long-lasting and ongoing traumatic physiological, physical, and mental and spiritual trauma from a whole lot of things that happen. But it's here right now, and it's scary. And we need to be mindful that with pandemics, there are always going to be people with less immunity, and God, that's why I couldn't make it out to the blimmin' Hikoi Treaty Principles Hikoi. I now have an empathy of being low immunity that I never asked for through chemo treatments.
Right.
But I couldn't go anywhere, and if I did go anywhere, I had to wear a mask. But I couldn't really go anywhere. It was really dangerous. So I just want to, stand in solidarity with the fact that we still need to be mindful.
And it is still around, and we're going through our 9th surge, and like it was in my house 2 weeks ago. Everyone knows that. Yeah, it's still there. Planner Walk says, will the Ministry of Works fix the road that had been ripped up 3 times over the last 2 years and maybe build some HSR? Actually, that Planner Walk's being a bit tongue-in-cheek there a bit, but also we're seeing this new flooding rain warning coming through the top half of the North Island at the moment.
Yeah.
Ministry of Works is exactly the kinds of groups, the group of people that you'd have in those situations to fix the damage caused by those sorts of things.
Absolutely. And I just want to acknowledge, it would allow us to be a lot more strategic and long-term thinking. So a lot of what the example that was given was a good one of just sort of short-term projects where you end up ripping roads up all the time. So a Ministry of Works would also allow the it's called spatial planning, but the long-term planning of what is the sort of proper infrastructure and really looking at how we can stabilize roading that we have got properly. Because what happens is with councils, local government, and with central government is you get stuck in 3-year planning cycles, which actually ends up being really expensive because we need, and this is what I was talking about, an economic system that doesn't hold us hostage to 3-year planning and things that voters are going to approve. We actually need to be looking at decades planning. In Māori communities, my nannies at the marae have said minimum 100-year planning. That would have seen us not build houses in dumb places where they get flooded, for example. So that sort of long-term thinking where we're just not just sticking plasters over things and actually fixing them structurally.
One more question. There are more there, and I'm sorry if we don't get to your particular question, but one from Mata. Mata says, can Marama ask Nicola what she is doing for those who have been laid off because of fuel costs, like forestry workers?
We included in and actually we did today, we asked the Prime Minister today exactly that question, and yesterday. Actually, we asked them yesterday as well, exactly what they are doing for people not in paid employment after making 40,000 people not in paid employment.
Yep. Yeah.
So we asked exactly that. Nothing. I mean, we know they're doing nothing, but when you ask them, they just don't answer it. They just don't answer the question. They just go back to who they are supporting. And we were clear. They left out people not in paid employment, including their children. So they have chosen which children are worthy of getting extra support when they are the ones struggling the most. So they chose not to support unemployed people Kaumātua, kuia, pakeke, retirees, and care workers, for example. Not good enough.
Chewy, I got a question or anything before we wrap up with Marama? Thank you so much for your time tonight, Marama. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I am just absolutely stoked to see you guys building on what I have been screaming from the rooftops for years now, a really solid piece of work from last election, your fully costed financial plan and that sort of thing. It must be frustrating to keep on banging this gong and people have the preconceived ideas that the Green Party can only talk about hugging trees and cannot possibly have an idea about anything with a dollar value attached to it. But you keep just putting out good bits of work, and this is why I joined the Green Party last year, as I had to get some skin in the game. And I think this is probably a good time to mention the email that I got today. Apparently you have someone that is matching donations to the Green Party. If people want to take that jump and donate some money to the Green Party, they have a benefactor that is matching it dollar for dollar. So double your donation, essentially, at the moment. And I think that's going through till the end of the month.
It is. Thank you for highlighting that. The billionaires are rolling. They are rolling. They are paying for the policies to stay billionaires. So we absolutely are like everyone else trying to fundraise. My last thoughts, if people go and have a look at Hannah Spencer, who won a Greens by-election in the UK, Gordonton Denton, I've got that wrong. Someone will throw it in the chat. You've already got Polanski and you've seen Mamdani. Billionaires tried to win. Billionaires bankrolled the oppositions to all of those. We can do this. We do not need to think that it is inevitable that they will win every time. The people are more enduring than that. So that's my last sort of kōrero for the night.
Marama, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Always a pleasure to see you. I'm sure it's going to be a big year. Just on your exit, the health stuff, you were talking about chemo tonight for the first time. I know when we caught up last Waitangi, we had a little moment about you were feeling well. Still feeling well? Health all going well? All good for this year?
Yeah, I finally started to feel like I was myself again and got my energy back. Because coming back from chemo and treatment to this job, wouldn't recommend, like, not really a healthy transition. But my team, I just want to credit my team. You cannot do this alone. And my team have really used me as an example of how to take collective care of the well-being of our team. And if it wasn't for their approach to supporting me, I wouldn't be here. I actually wouldn't be here. I would have given up long ago because it's too rough, it's too tough, and you have to be 100,000% well, not 100% well. And I wasn't for the whole year last year. I was still climbing back into who I am. Finally there now, and it's only because of collective teamwork and care. So thank you.
It's almost like you guys stand by and practice what you say, Marama. It's crazy.
Love it.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing the run up to the election this year. Hopefully we'll speak to you guys again at some stage. All the best and thanks for tonight.
Thank you all, your viewers. Thank you to Chewy and Pat. Really enjoy my kōrero with you. Ko maari.
Thanks, Marama. Cheers.
We'll see you again.
There you go. Okay.
God help them if she's not at full power now. God help them when she is.
We just look forward to those debates with Debbie and Marama on the stage, making short work of Uncle Winnie again. Those were highlights.
That was one of my favourite moments.
The high five
from last election.
The high five.
The high five.
It was almost worth getting kicked off YouTube by TVNZ for watching those.
Hey, true that.
Let's there's a bunch of super chats in there, both relating to what we just did and also other stuff as well. Again, apologies if we didn't get to it all. I mean, I never gave Marama a time, but we normally kind of say half an hour, so she gave us 55 minutes. So We got to
shit.
stop. I know we got to stop at one stage and just say thanks so much for everything. So if we didn't get to your question or comment, we apologise, but I'm sure you understand. Gold says 227 days, and I get to vote for the Greens. I should have brought that one up. David said new countdown, 22 days until we run out of diesel. What did I bring up today? I saw 18 somewhere. Did I see 18?
I was showing that website that we talked about last night, New Zealand Oil Watch, to a few people. And yeah, that was an eye-opener for them. Absolutely.
Here's something else that's quite interesting, and I think we will watch the one news story on this tonight, is there's no accurate amount. 18, 29, like even the story that I think we go to, like this one here, 18 days worth of diesel. I think if you read it, look, 46.4 days worth of diesel. That's on land is 18, 28 on the water. But it's I don't know whether they're flooding the zone with multiple answers to confuse everybody, or actually the truth is nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Laura says, Chloe is the queen. Marama is the queen auntie. Rajan, we smoking that Sora AI pack.
Do you get that reference, Pat?
I know what Sora AI is. I know about the smoking part.
They're shutting it down. And Disney
really?
is pulling the $1 billion investment that they were going to put into it. Sora was one of those things that was just everywhere for a bit. And it was very convincing, very much able to mimic famous people, politicians, that sort of thing. And was fooling a lot of people. So I'm glad to see that is gone now. Maybe it's because they've got a better one and it'll be short-term relief. But let's take a quick victory lap.
Hasn't this horse bolted? Won't other groups just pick up and run on? And wow, no, I didn't know that. That sounds like young people think AI. What is it all about? AI?
Pat's at the stage in life now where every moving image is true. So even cartoons.
If it's written
if
it's written down, or I see someone saying it, it must be true. At least that's how we operate. Pete says, would love to see a view towards community building, not letting the perfect be the enemy of good, but it's better than the bland subdivisions. Welly Ruru will land. It's like, but can't somebody think of the landlords? Will the landlords get enough to eat?
They can eat each other.
Buddhistics. I thought you were supposed to eat the rich, not the rich were supposed to eat each other. Isn't that how it goes?
It's metaphorical. I'm not a cannibal.
All right. Have an idea. National circuit for approved fruit growers by people funded into mobile homes. Maybe even a base camp tackles a couple of problems. So you've got almost like a traveling group of. Would there be a problem there that everything gets picked at the same time? Or I guess you could do different seasons, couldn't you? So it's like, we go to the Gypsy Fair here in Dunedin, which I actually went to when I was in Auckland with family. It's the same one that comes to Dunedin because they travel the country. Something like that. I guess that's what sheep shearing gangs do, isn't it? They go kind of from sheep shear to sheep shear. Yeah, all right. Interesting, Buddha.
I mean, I never did it, but I remember when I started as a student down here, and it was a lot more common through the 90s, by my understanding, is that the Central Otago fruit orchards were basically staffed by students in their semester breaks, and that
over summer
they go out there and do their summer work and that sort of thing. And that has kind of dropped away. And I'll be honest, I don't really understand why, whether it's a pay and conditions sort of thing, or people just don't generally see it as worth the effort. And a lot of orchards have pivoted to bringing people in from the islands to do that work, both the RSC workers and just attracting people from the islands. Because I know, what is it? It's not Cromwell. Alexandra has a big Fijian population there now, because they've come over to pick fruit, and they're here for a couple of years and then they go back again. So, yeah, it's just interesting how some of these traditional jobs change.
Well, I wonder if that's actually changed. Any students out there, let us know. I've had some interactions with students, via my children to that sort of age group, and they don't seem to go off and do that summer job anymore. Like, I can remember being a student in any summer job you can get. We sold Christmas trees and we did all these things to try and save up for next year's fees. Either next year fees or bare budget for about a month, whichever the two came first. But I'm from my experience, which is very anecdotal, I don't see students doing that kind of working 70-hour weeks through summer to get money for the following year. But as I said, chat, tell me if that's your experience. Some more chats. Can you get through these chats here? 8 Vasta, the lack of sensible economic vision shown by this current government has driven more of the unemployed to PlayStation while waiting for it. Yeah, that's true. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Laura says, Marama power level is over 9,000. Excel dear, Marama, but I'm only at 50% of my power. That's what you were just saying, Chewy. And Kathy Hunt, live in Gisborne, and our Z and Pack and Save are both out of 91. Yeah, heard that today. But, don't panic, people. David Seymour, I actually went and tried to find it. I'm a bit annoyed with myself that I didn't grab it when I saw it. Him saying, oh, they've got a right to bulk buy if they want. And Nicola Willis, just a couple of days ago. I'm sure if I spent 3 hours looking through our files, I could find them, going, we're not asking people to change their habits, their behaviours when it comes to fuel. It's like, well, okay, so we're going to run it a week earlier than we should have.
My takeaway there is, at the place that is holding on to our petrol is restricting its own population from buying more than 50 litres a day. I think it is. They've put a restriction in place already, and they're stopping their public servants from driving into work and stuff like that. It's all work from home. The Philippines just declared a state of emergency, and they have 45 days worth of fuel left.
Yeah, because I think some more had more than us as well, and they're doing that sort of thing. But they're going to. It does seem short-sighted. I mean, it's that kind of thing that. Yeah, but it's that kind of thing that 9 times out of 10 we prepare for something, nothing happens. We did see it through some alleged potential pandemics with like swine flu and bird flu, but then we had COVID and it did happen. Is this going to be one of those moments that we can skate through and not really do and it'd be fine, or are we going to run out of petrol? Like, will that actually happen? I am
still seeing, emails and notifications. Like, NPD sent me an email the other day saying that they had a discount on fuel. And I was just like, okay, it's probably good that some people can save some money, but it also seems to be weird to be offering a discount in a crisis. That it should just be the real fucking price, and they should just put a litre or a monetary restriction on how much people can buy. It's I don't know. It just seems like there's not enough being done now to stop a real panic and a real crunch down the line. This is not going to be over quickly.
It's not. Okay, I'm going to do a shout out for some lovely people, because you know how, in case you're just tuning in live, we've been showing you the new stickers. If the left votes, the left wins. Ditch the Pricks in 26, and some little show called BHN, all there ready to go. And I said at the start of the show, I am going to put these on the store. They're not on the store yet. Until they go on the store, buy anything from the store, and I'll throw all 3 of them in, even if it's one sticker, because I don't do math. T-shirt, I'll throw 3 in. Hoodie, I'll throw 3 in. A mug, I'll throw 3 in. Whatever, an enamel, I'll throw 3 in, because we start to get them around. They'll probably be in the store by Saturday. So as soon as I put them into the store, check there first, then I will be taking that offer off the table. And so far tonight, Laura, BB, Jendi, Scott, Monica, Sophie, Andrew, Citizen, Louise, Terry, and Claire have taken advantage of all that. So thank you, guys. Most looks like they've bought mugs, it looks like. I'm not looking at the totals, but a couple have bought, what was that order? I won't say whose name, but someone's bought the full house of enamel pins. There we go. That's that. Nice. The full house. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So there you go.
I'm just going to address the elephant in the room as well. As good as it was that we had Marama for as long as we had her tonight, it's always a pleasure to have her on. That we didn't have Chloe, and so I was denied my ability to ask Chloe about this fantastic freeze frame. This is greens. This is the billboard. just put it up. It could just say in big block letters at the top, what the fuck
That's exactly
Boat
the
green.
right words. What I was thinking of.
Yep.
We should use that. That's worthy of using as a thumbnail, even when Chloe is not on. We should just use that for something, and then put WTF behind her head and just put it out there. It's a pity. Has it got that big blue thing in the middle? Has it got that circle actually?
Yeah, I did. Someone's just grabbed it off the web player. But I will say that our still undefeated Discord community have already turned this into a moving GIF. So never change.
And also Barbara, who just also went through the store and got us our 3 free stickers along with some other bits and bobs. All right, Chewy. Maybe we'll just do one more because Marama kind of covered off two of the stories there, which is the one about Brooke van Velden that we were going to talk about, and also the other. So maybe we'll just wrap up with TVNZ's latest report on the news. And again, I think we get different messaging here with how much fuel we've got left. It's all a bit of a rigmarole, isn't it? One news tonight, Melissa Stokes introducing the Prime Minister talking about the relief is targeted to that squeezed middle. I'm just going to make sure this is the right one. Is this the right one? Because the other night I played, that's 145. I think this is the right one. If this is last night's, I'll just stop it. This is smooth.
Low to middle income working families are set for a small boost to their bank balances, with the government today.
Yeah, that's yesterday's. Okay, thanks for that. TVNZ putting yesterday's story at the top of your freak. Oh, they just changed it out? Okay, they've just changed it out. Let's go again.
Low to middle income working families are set for a small boost.
Not happy. TVNZ do this. See, there's no date. I don't know what date this one is. Chewy, help me. What am I supposed to do?
Jazz hands.
Fuel relief. How does it work? Is that going to be one? No, that's the same image. Oh, jeez. Chewy. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll go to stuff. TVNZ does this thing where they do this thing where they just put up stories from 3 days ago on the latest thing. I hate it. There must be something in the chat that's more interesting than watching me do this. Joe.
I mean, let's be honest. TVNZ have had it out for us for a long time. Gary here has a great comment. If hubris and condescension and arrogance were combustible, we would all be fine. Why don't I talk about a local nut bar while you're trying to sort this out? Cool. Now, we try to keep things that are happening in Dunedin secret so other parts of the country don't judge us, and apparently some stuff from our local politics has leaked out into the greater world. We have a newly elected councillor here in Dunedin called Benedict Ong. Hilariously, those of you playing at home might put those two things together and realise that this is Councillor Bong. He's been asked to resign after a code of conduct review has come out, and basically they have big concerns over this dude's behaviour because he is unhinged. They had to put a safety plan in place to make sure that he was either restricted from moving in certain areas of the council building because of his behaviour towards non-elected council employees, and just make sure that he was escorted around in other places. He turned up to a council meeting with local MPs with tape over his mouth because he figured that he was being silenced. At the meeting about this code of conduct review, he read a passage from Franz Kafka's The Trial, which is about a man that is being tried for a crime that neither the reader or the man being accused knows what the crime is. So this guy is milking it for all that it's worth. What I find really interesting is he's an elected official, and it's very hard to get rid of someone. They either have to resign or he has to do something truly criminal that results in a prison term before you can get rid of an elected official. It's been pointed out to Councillor Ong that if he did the honourable thing and resigned...
Honourable.
The honourable thing. if he resigned before, I think it's April 8th, we have an upcoming by-election because a councillor died. And if he resigned before that, it wouldn't cost the Dunedin ratepayer anything extra because they just picked 2 people out of the by-election. He's decided that he's not going to do that because the local community want him to be there to represent him. I think he's delusional. And if you're in the Dunedin area, what I would encourage you to do is email the council or maybe ring them and say, can you pass on a message to Councillor Ong that, no, it's good, dude, you can resign. Please resign. It is not funny anymore. It is a drain on ratepayers' money, and it's just stopping the council doing work. But yes, this highlights an issue that many councils have with uncooperative or combative councillors, is you can't get rid of them.
And in MW, thank you for your purchase as well. I had a question actually for Marama, and I unfortunately forgot it.
She's gone now.
Maybe I
Should have asked it when she was here.
I know. But the question I had for her was actually based on this story. And I'll say the question now, and then I'll highlight to it when it comes up in the story, my thought. I liked how Marama said that Labor got kind of half of that equation wrong around COVID. They borrowed more money, but then they didn't seek any more revenue to repay that money from the people who are getting richer by the second because of COVID. And it made me think of the idea that for so long we sit in a capitalistic state and we see private enterprise privatizing the profits and socializing the losses.
Oh yeah.
But this is a perfect moment for it. You're going to see in this a gentleman, I think, who's in a warehouse talking about help from the government. Now, I agree. I am supportive of help from the government. But I think that what the government has to be careful of is not allow private business to socialize these losses when they've privatized their profits. And I think it's finally kind of dawned on me when listening to Marama is the way we don't do that is just get them to pay their fair share. And if they're paying their fair share and making profit, great. But it doesn't then feel like they're double dipping, i.e. keeping more to themselves when they're paying disproportionately less and then wanting more back from the public when times are troubled. I'll say it again. I'm for helping business. I'm for keeping business in work. This government doesn't seem to be, with all the factories and stuff that are closing down at the moment. Are we listening Heinz? Are we listening McCain's? Mm-hmm. But I'm for government help to keep businesses open and keep people in jobs. But I'm also for those businesses contributing correctly in their tax money back. So in this moment, let's have a government, good one, who will do everything they can to save these companies, but then also say, you now also have a responsibility not to just disproportionately privatize your profits when things get better again. See, that would have been a good question for Marama, but I screwed it up. And
pity she's not here.
Yeah. Maybe we should see she wants to come on one night.
This is a perfect example raised here in the chat. Methanex paying zero tax, but also getting subsidies and paying dividends to their shareholders. That's some fucked behaviour that needs looking at. Yeah, you know, and like this is just what I think about tax in general, right? You can be really mercenary about paying tax. I want to pay tax because if I get sick, I want to go to a good hospital. You know, I want to pay tax because it'd be good if the annoying school kids running around were also smart and annoying, not dumb and annoying. You know, it'd be good if when I get old that there's some sort of income and that I'm not working as a fucking Costco greeter at 83. You know, that sort of stuff. We don't want those heartwarming stories that they have in the US about... I saw one, this made me so fucking angry. 87-year-old man, his wife had died, and so now he's doing DoorDash so he could have his heating on. What the fuck?
Or there's that classic example from Bowling with Columbine from their health system, where a man who had an accident had 2 of his fingers accidentally cut off, like with a saw blade or something, and he could only afford to get one reattached. So he picked the one that had he said the one that had his wedding ring.
Bro.
So he picked that one to get reattached, but he couldn't afford to get both of them reattached. So I get it. Right. Let's get to the story now. It does cover off about Jetstar shutting down some destinations, but I think just panic over. They're not talking about cutting out locations. They're just cutting back on the numbers going to some locations, Auckland to Wellington, Auckland to Christchurch. Let's have a look.
Jetstar has cut some domestic and trans-Tasman flights as global jet fuel supply continues to be squeezed with the Iran conflict driving up prices. This is the latest stock update for what's already in the country and on its way.
Now, just see again, they said what's in the country. That article we just read said there was 18 days in the country of diesel.
There's around 43 days of jet fuel. Diesel stocks are at 46.5 days.
She just said in the country. What the fuck? What is it then? Because she just said in the country, whereas it was reported this afternoon.
There needs to be a standard here, both in the way that the government talks about it and the way that the press talks about it. And I think that standard should be always making the clear delineation between the number we are counting for how long we've got is in the country.
Yep.
If there's another amount that's on the way, we talk about that separately. Do you know why? Because boats can be turned around.
Yep. And if it was like a ferry in New Zealand, boats can break down and be stuck in the middle of the ocean for weeks at a time.
Or if it's a New Zealand Navy ship, it could just turn over and become a submarine. You know, things happen to
18
boats.
days worth on land and just under 49 days combined of petrol cover. Simon Merseb has more.
Jetstar won't say exactly how many flights have been cut, but says it's made temporary changes affecting 12% of services. It says it's contacted customers directly, and most have been offered alternative flights on the same day. The cuts affect flights between Auckland and Wellington and Auckland and Christchurch, and trans-Tasman flights between Auckland and Sydney and Auckland and Brisbane. Rising diesel prices continue to weigh heavily on the freight industry too.
Did you say oh good or not good? Are you saying oh good it doesn't?
No, I said oh good. As someone that's flying Christchurch to Melbourne on Air New Zealand, you know, again, might be very mercenary here.
Well, but I'll be honest with you, we're doing Dunedin Gold Coast in June. So I'm a bit the same. It's on Jetstar.
Yeah.
Oh good. Oh good.
Booths
So we can be smug about that because it's a little thing, but the whole EV car thing, we're leaving that one alone, right? We clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Logistics says its trucks clock up 3.5 million kilometres a month.
3.5 million
Jesus Christ.
a month. Oh, you know what I was thinking about this? Chewy? I wasn't even thinking about the fuel. Just think of the road user charges.
Yeah.
3.5 million a month.
It's now
I bet the
assessed the
transport
impact
companies
of
get a good deal.
costlier diesel across the industry.
And that price has gone up like $1.26 a litre in the last few weeks since this crisis started, and that's a huge burden of. I think we worked out this morning. It's about another $14 million just in diesel. It's been spent per day. That's the economy's got to absorb. And the economy was already doing pretty tough before we entered.
He said 14 million per day, didn't he? Did I hear that correctly? Surely he missed, but I can't go backwards actually because this is the full news hour and I'll go too far.
Into this. So the real worry for us is our customers and the economy and who's paying for this at the end of the day.
This Auckland warehouse, they bring in goods from the airport.
This is it. This is the one where I was thinking, you know, I'm for helping business, but like I said, you know, we don't allow business to privatise the profit, socialise losses. There's got to be a formula here. And it's nothing against this business. This was just when I was watching when I had that thought.
3 or 4 times a day to be collected by other companies. Pricier diesel is hurting them too.
The cost
That could be electric.
is triple. I mean, we're coming back with bills 3 times the amount that we used to come back with.
How long can you sustain that?
I don't know, though. I mean, I suppose that's a question we have to ask the government how long we're expected to sustain it. You know?
So you know what I mean? Looking to the government for help. I'm down for that. Like I really genuinely am down for that. I'm not smacking around big business. But if we the public are down for helping business, then we the public expect to have a return on that investment, Mr. Business. That if we're going to help you out, then let's make sure that businesses are paying the proportional right amount of tax that they can then, we're all win-win. It's not business winning when they get to privatise the profits and winning when they get to socialise the losses. We want to be win-win here. Pay a good amount of tax, pay a proportionate amount of tax, pay the right amount of tax, and happy to help. That's where I just think that the formula needs to go.
I mean, maybe there's a subsidy to help us.
If it goes much longer, if it goes weeks longer, what are your fears?
It's going to be a knock-on effect to suppliers of the food industries, the supermarkets. I mean, everything is based on transport. And without our transport industry, our economy is going to shrink.
The government says 2 vessels carrying oil are due in the next fortnight. And it says fuel companies report a healthy number of ships.
Can I just ask a really dumb person question? Because he said carrying oil, but we don't turn oil into fuel.
Yeah. That's
so again, the messaging, he said 2 ships coming carrying oil. Marsden Point doesn't do that anymore. Does he mean fuel? Or are we getting oil for another reason? Because that's what TVNZ just reported. 2 ships coming with oil. This is the messaging, Chewy. It just needs to get on altogether. People are saying he misspoke in there, but this is a pre-record. This is not live. You don't get to speak in a pre-record.
Are on the water for later in the month.
No, my Simon. So Jetstar is cutting some flights. What about Air New Zealand?
Well, you recall, Melissa, just a few days ago, Air New Zealand announced a 5% reduction in service. So after the news about Jetstar today, we went back to them. They say that today there are no new cuts to announce, but that they continue to monitor the Middle East very, very closely. And across the day today, we've had other reports emerge about fuel. In Gisborne, 2 petrol stations reportedly ran out of 91 grade petrol this afternoon. Here in Auckland, a business which distributes nursery plants has advised its customers of a new 15% surcharge to cover its rising costs. Also in Auckland, the Massey University over in Albany has advised its staff and students of its emergency planning, which could include a return to more online learning, which sounds a little bit like a return to COVID territory, Melissa.
And Simon, the nation that supplies us with most of our refined fuel is now implementing emergency measures.
This is what we were talking about earlier when Nicola Willis goes, we're not expecting anyone to change their behaviour. When, to be fair, David Seymour said quite near the beginning of this crisis that, people want to stock up, they can, it's their right. But this is what other countries are now doing.
Itself.
Yes, that nation is South Korea. It gets 70% of its crude oil through the Strait of Hormuz, so it's acutely affected by this crisis. So its emergency measures include encouraging or ordering public departments and asking big corporates to use fewer vehicles, calling on the public to use more public transport, to ride bicycles, even going as far as urging people to take shorter showers and to use washing machines and vacuum cleaners only on weekends.
Because obviously they use fuel for power, which we don't do, but we use coal, but that's obviously why.
As well as that, it's announced it's going to start to run up 5 nuclear power stations to give it more options to cover its energy needs. So here's another day when the ripples of this crisis continue to be felt around the world, Melissa.
Tēnei te mihi atu. Thanks, Simon.
So, it'd be good just to have like a half dozen nuclear power plants just sitting in the back burners that you could fire up if you needed to. But that's what we're saying. South Korea is telling. I don't know if they're mandating like from the government yet, but it sounds like they're starting to put some weight on businesses to go, do you really need 12 trucks? Can you manage today with 11? That kind of idea, which seems to make sense. But our guys at the moment are still saying, well, you just heard Marama. Marama said in this show, if you're seeing this as a clip, you won't have seen that they got like the experts visit them from the government with the message, nobody panic. It does feel like that, keep calm and carry on message, whereas we know how fucked that was for World War II. But that's what it sounds like. Keep calm, carry on, keep calm and carry on. There you go. There you go, Discord. There's a Discord group. There's some art for you to make. Keep calm and carry on when it comes to this. Nicola Willis and David Seymour. Chewy?
Yeah, no, I look. This is something that I am not going to be pulled away from. This government is underreacting.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about big sweeping changes or that sort of thing. You need to set the goal that you want to achieve. Warn them of the consequences of what happens if we don't collectively pull our weight, make changes, that sort of thing. To make sure that whatever happens is less dramatic than the alternative. And I think that the moment that a bigger country or South Korea goes, we'll get it to you in a bit, and we're talking about, okay, diesel for farmers and fire trucks and ambulances only, that's going to have a dramatic effect on this country. The availability may be there, but the price is going up. And I think that's a big concern for people. You can say that don't worry about it, there's ships on the way. But if you're seeing your local servo empty, once a week, or you're seeing the price of petrol go up 15 cents every fucking 6 hours or something, then that is panic. What happens when you can't afford to go to work?
I mean,
so I think these guys are putting way too much faith in the free market, and a good old dose of she'll be right. It's going to blow up in their face.
There you go. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering.
Yeah.
Don't panic. I do think, I really do think that one of the reasons it feels like they're underplaying it, Chewy, is they've just spent 3 years pointing out how their accusation is Labor overplayed it. Labor were too controlling. Labor had too many mandates and too many directives. We're the parties of the right. We believe in freedom. And the problem is for us, the voters, even if you believe that Labor was a bit too heavy-handed with the lockdowns and stuff, sure. We just saw the report. They missed by 6 days, apparently, in Auckland. Okay, so they got it wrong. But they still made the decisions they thought at the time that were best for the country with limited information. Right now, we've got a government who's refusing to make any decisions because they're too scared to be seen of as doing something that the last lot did, that they then have been criticising and still criticise today for stuff happening 4 years ago. For the last 3 years, they've been saying that. So I firmly believe a part of it's we can't do this, Nicola, because we've just been telling the country for the 3 years, the year before we got in and the 2 years since, how what they did was so bad. And if we do this thing that we're all hinting at, then we're going to be doing just what they did. Totally. I think it's a huge part of it. All right. Hey, let's do a couple of super chats and let's go home. That means I have to go to your home and you have to go to my home. Is that what we're going to do?
No, swapsies.
Swapsies. Oh my gosh. I said Amy last time, eh? There's more people, more crazy people. Raina,
more people. Are they completely?
Raina, Alan,
grab some stickers
Samantha,
before you give them
Faye.
all away.
Oh my gosh. Guess who's got 2 thumbs and is going to have a busy weekend? This guy.
Unless we're absolutely sure the war will be over in 12 days, those ships are still a Band-Aid. What about after they get here? Magic? Yeah. This is a supply chain, and it's all of the talk is like, we've got 2 links in the chain, guys, it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be. Like, they haven't declared peace. Well, Trump has declared peace, declared that he's conquered Iran, said the war's back on again, doesn't need anybody's help. Why is nobody helping me? Fuck you, I don't want your help anyway. We've negotiated peace in Iran. And I think that's just in the past half hour. Keep calm and carry on with campaign for if the UK was invaded by Germany, hence the crown. It wasn't disseminated during World War II. No, they found the posters like decades later, in a just in case fucking warehouse somewhere.
The just in case warehouse.
Yeah, just in case warehouse. We might have one here.
I like Justin.
But
Mr.
yeah, the other one was keep calm and collaborate, and the other one was shit's fucked.
All right, Fano, you beautiful people. A huge thanks to Marama for coming on tonight. That was dope as shit. if you ask me. And we look forward to going through the year with a few more of these kind of political conversations and some big ideas in the plan that we still can't quite tell you about yet, but hopefully I would like to be able to tell you about them perhaps in about 10 days from now, some of the ideas for this year. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. And if you happen to be the CEO of a big business that we're approaching to sponsor something, then you should just say yes. And then that'll help us make an announcement in 10 days from now. All right. That's us. Now, this is where I have to turn the banner off. No one screamed banner tonight. If people stopped doing that, was that a thing like of the mid-90s that everyone would scream banner when there was a
No,
banner?
I don't think people have stopped doing that.
No, I
Stop, never stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Okay. Who was that? Can't stop, won't stop. What song was that?
That was me. That's a direct quote.
There's a song. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
All right, Whānau. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you, Marama. Thank you, ball boys. Thank you, umpires. It's been a good game.
Help us settle it to be, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work at what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a warpath to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All heavily, neither this way or that, and will be analyzed by butchery and pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's big hairy news.
I like looking at the chat at the end of the show and trying to figure it out. Apparently there's a debate going on about the Hulk right now in the chat. I'm not sure what it's about, but that's interesting to me. Obviously we attract the most studious kind of people to this show, Chewy. Debate about
It's
the
important
Hulk.
because he's a doctor.
It is. And he's green. Maybe that's the connection. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Whānau. That's it from me. Hooroo.
Cheers, fam.